What's up, everybody? Let's jump into it here. I just did a quick workout, and I want to get this completed before I get to my location here. I started a new workout where I do. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen here, but I do some farmers walks, dust the gloves. I'm gonna go to this location right now, get a walk in. I got a heavy backpack on, so I want to do, instead of just a regular walk, put some weight on, do a nice little rucksack walk. So get it in, right? You got to get it in. So I was watching Anita's video the other day that she did put on her members only, and I sent her a text about that because I wish that she would have put it up for everyone to see. But I get it, we got to make business decisions, and so she did a video about being a 10%. Oh, there's a hawk up there. She did a video about being a 10% man, or what it takes to be there. And I highly suggest that you if you haven't watched it, you go over there and watch it. Again, I can't do a reaction to it because it's on her members only, but um, uh, it's all stuff that's achievable. Let me put it like that. It's all stuff that's achievable. I mean, there's nothing you can do about your physical characteristics as a man, but there's all things that you can do about that. All things that are achievable. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Go over there and watch a video. But there's all things that are within your power, besides the physical characteristics, obviously. And even some of those physical characteristics you can change. Get your teeth fixed. Get a nice pair of glasses or whatever. Make sure your hair is cut and all that kind of stuff. All right, so but I wanted to make this particular video. I've had this video on my mind for a little bit now. Somebody else had asked me to read a book, and I'll try to put the screenshot up here, and talk about male leadership and what she was missing in her relationship previously and all that. So I wanted to tie all that in to talk about when men are not leaders. What happens? What happens when men are not leaders? As I record this, just last night I had a conversation with Trey Kearney. Go over to the lives and watch that. If you're not watching all the lives, if you're just watching the car videos, you're not watching the lives and you're missing something. If you're just watching the lives and not watching the car videos, you're missing something, right? So go over there, make sure you subscribe, share, become a member of the channel, all that kind of good stuff. So I had a great conversation with her, and it becomes a popular theme. And also, what I did was I recorded a video. I have not released it yet. I don't know if this is going to come out. This video is going to come out first or second. But I want to talk. But I recorded a video speaking about what happens, how a man or a father influences a girl's or a daughter's life. Got to watch that video. I'm not going to get all super complicated and everything, but I wanted to tie all this in together and wrap this up in a nice little bow here and say that fathers matter, obviously, and that men need to show leadership. What happens when men don't show leadership? All right, I had to pause it there and wipe off my screen there. So what happens when men don't show leadership? Again, this is I was asked to read a book, and there's a lot of guys today. We're understanding this now. That a lot of ladies are continuing to complain. It comes across my feed all the time, and that could be how my algorithm is set. I get that, but a lot of ladies are complaining about what happens when men don't stand up, show leadership. They may now, some of them may buck back against that, say they don't want leadership, say they don't need anybody to lead them, etc. But I'm telling you as a man, if you're a man watching this, so if you're a woman watching this and you're raising sons, you got a brother or uncle or whatever, that man has to show leadership, direction, stoicism. He has to be solid, grounded. He has to be all those things, because people in your life are counting on you to be that dude, to be the rock when things get crazy, to be that rock in the middle of a storm. They're counting on you. You cannot panic. You cannot react in a non-stoic way, whatever the opposite of stoicism would be. Panicking. Must not respond in those ways. You have to respond in a manner that is going to give confidence to the people who are around you, to know that if you don't have the answer, you can find the answer, you can get the answer. If you don't have the answer, then you're going to seek it out. You're not afraid to admit that you don't know something, but you're certainly have the ability, the understanding, the wisdom to know how to find out. And during interactions, you must show leadership. You must show it. I don't know how else I need to say that, right? And far too many times we are surrounded by people coming from dysfunctional families where men are absent, where men are not showing up as their best selves, don't know how to show leadership, etc. And then they're trying to marry into relationships, right? They're trying to marry into relationships, don't know how to be a present father, present help. On the episode that I did with Trey Kearney, she talked about how she married someone and that someone tried to show leadership, and she, because of her upbringing, bucked up against it. She didn't want that. She thought the man was doing too much, and it ain't that serious. We don't got to be strict like this all the time. We need to have fun. We need to let our hair down. No, no. You as a man must bring stability, wisdom, groundedness, the ability to say no, to stand on your square, stand on your word. You have to show that. You have to show that. Well, speaking of Anita again, right, on her platform, she posted a picture. I think it was of Meg Thee Stallion. I think, an outfit that Meg Thee Stallion was wearing at some gala event. And she asked the question: would you let your woman, men, would you let your woman dress like this? My response to that was, first of all, I wouldn't marry a woman who dressed like that. I wouldn't marry a woman who thought like dressing like that. And if I did in the relationship, if she decided that now she wasn't dressing like this before, but now all of a sudden she feels the need to start dressing like this, that's a longer conversation as to what's going on and what why do you suddenly feel the need to dress like that. And I'm going to tell you right now that that kind of conversation. I don't like to talk about always divorcing or get rid of this person. That really, really bothers me. And this is, one of the problems I think that men are having or struggling with is this idea about what happens when and if you're in a situation where things change, somebody wants to change the rules of the contract, and your only recourse is to pay them or in order to get out of said contract. Nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to be trapped in a situation where they can't be. And this is for the men or the women, right? If you're a woman, right, and you don't want to be controlled, don't be controlled. Take control of your life. Absolutely. I'm just going to tell you, you can't do it over here. Right? You're not going to dress like that over here. You're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to put me in situations wherein if we're out in public and somebody comes up to you and starts talking to you. This is my heavy bag here. I'm going to go for a walk. Somebody comes up to you and starts disrespecting you. Now I got to step in. And take control and possibly get into a fight and lose my life. Why? Because you want to dress with your butt out, with your breasts out? No. We're good with that, right? We're good with that. Men, I think like never before, I think we're starting to realize this, right? There's another epidemic, right? They're talking about male loneliness epidemic. A lot of things are being talked about. Male loneliness epidemic, men walking away, men not engaging, men not approaching, all this type of stuff, right? It's all geared towards men waking up and saying, you know what, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. I'm not dealing with a woman who's going to disrespect me how she dresses, disrespect me how she talks to me, disrespect me in dealing with the relationship with my children, the children we had together. You're not gonna son me. You're not gonna emasculate me. You're not gonna do any of those types of things. You're not doing any of those types of things. You're gonna stand firmly and strongly on your square, right? So. And I get it that a lot of men don't have that capabilities. Thus, why someone wanted me to read this particular book, just to get my thoughts and opinions. Now, listen, I grew up without a. Who the heck is calling me? I grew up without a father. And I had to do what we're calling patchwork now, to get different personalities. I had to take people from my church, people from the summer camp I went to, people from the uncles I had in my life, just positive role models, right? Different sayings from here and there, right? To try to piece together what I wanted to be, because I was able to see at a young age that I was missing something. I couldn't get a lot of it, right? But I did the best I could. And my real full maturation really didn't come into existence until I was a police officer, and really in my role as a supervisor within the police department. That's really when it kicked off. Really when it kicked off. And I really started to feel more confident in myself as a man, as a man, not just as a human being, but as a man, and particularly as a black man, right? Understanding all this. So you got to figure out a way to come to this place, to come to this realization. And if you need that book or any other book or life coaching or to do this patchwork, or you got to reach out and get that. Whether it's reading a book, listening to podcasts, whether it's being around people who are goal oriented. Maybe there's somebody on your job that you look up to. You want to live his life. You want his type of relationship. You want a home like him. You want a job like him. You want a career. You want to be able to speak well as he does. Whatever it is, you got to emulate those types of people, seek those type of people, be around those type of people as much as possible, and try to emulate them, right? You have to do that. And yes, if you need to read these types of materials, then read them, right? Read them. Let me just say it again. I don't know if I said it before. The person wanted me to read the book because she was saying that her ex didn't exhibit any of these types of qualities. Therefore, what would be my thoughts of the book? That's why she wanted me to read it, not because I was lacking anything. But listen, I'm always willing to do the work. Always willing to do the work. You have to be self-reflective and to do the work. You cannot, should not, as a man, you must first analyze yourself. Don't look at other people. Look at yourself and ask yourself what you need to do in order to be the best version of yourself. There's a saying that is attributed to Elijah Muhammad. Before we look at what the white culture isn't giving us, or what, et cetera, et cetera, the first thing we need to do is examine ourselves. I don't know if he said it or not, but I attributed to him something I read. But I think it's definitely something that I have adopted as a mantra. I'm not going to blame other people. I'm not going to blame other people for my divorces. I'm not going to blame my exes. I'm not going to blame I'm not going to blame other people. I have to look at myself and say, what could I have done better? And one of the biggest things that I think that men are doing and have to do and have to continue to do is show leadership, stoicism, progress, stability, emotional stability, wisdom, knowledge, ability to communicate, emotional regulation. These are all things that they are saying we're not doing, but I think that we're showing it even more now. We are emotionally regulating ourselves and saying, I'm not going to deal with foolishness. We're emotionally regulating ourselves and we're not going to deal with unhappy relationships. We're emotionally regulating ourselves. We're considering the cost benefit analysis about how much money it costs to date versus my actual return on investment, my ROI, and understanding that in many cases the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? That, these ladies these days, considering the economy, are saying, a lot of them, not all of them obviously, are saying that they don't want to go 50-50, right? They don't want to date a man who's doing the 50-50 thing. It's absolute nonsense and foolishness. And emotionally stable, mature, regulated men who have wisdom, who has knowledge, who understand budgeting, who are not just replying to the craziness that's out here, replying to the dysfunction, are saying, I'm not going to deal with that kind of stuff, and I'm going to get myself together, and I would rather choose my inner peace. I'm going to choose my inner peace. There's a couple of videos that are coming to mind. I'm going to try to find it. One was by a lady named Pearl Davis. I don't really rock with her that much, but she did say something that is very apropos, and if I can find it, I'll put it on here.
Women are not competing with other women. They're competing with men's peace. And that's what he's saying. He's saying, and this is how a lot of Gen Z guys feel. It's not that a lot of them are sexless, right? A lot of them, it's not that they have another choice of a woman to date if someone comes in, but you're competing with silence. And women that don't understand men have no idea how much energy they spend, and they don't appreciate how much energy they spend just being around us and listening to our problems. They don't get it.
That's exactly right.
So what Pearl Davis was saying is that men are now choosing peace. We're choosing to go to the gym. We're choosing to get our walks in. We're choosing to eat right. We're choosing to save our money. We're choosing to make better decisions. We're choosing who we're going to sleep with. Contrary to popular opinion, black men use condoms the most, right? We're the most responsible because we don't want to be sitting up in child support. We've seen what it's done to our uncles and to our brothers and to our cousins and to our fathers. We don't want that type of life, right? We understand that the STD epidemic is somewhat on the rise. They want to blame black men or blame men. No, you're sleeping with a lot of these ladies are sleeping with the same men. They're sharing men. Another video I did. You're sharing men, and you're all coming down. You're all coming down with these same types of ailments. So listen, this is not to blame anybody, but we have to look at ourselves, and we have to show leadership, stability, knowledge, wisdom, know-how. Stay on your square. Stay on and be on it, right? And be on it. So I just want to say that because there's a lot of times that people are addressing a lot of things. And let me also end off with this. Speaking of Trey Curdy, right? I told her I was gonna do this. This whole men aren't approaching things, right? She tells a story about I'll put the video up here. She tells a story about she was out with her girls and she sees guys looking at them, and I'm hearing this and seeing this a lot, right? Guys looking at them, they're peeping over, peeping them out, and instead of approaching it, just looking. The internet is full of stories like this. Why aren't men approaching? Why aren't men approaching? Why aren't men approaching?
So, hey, Lamar, how was your week so far? Your weekend?
Going good. Going slow. I'm going slow. How's yours?
It's going good. I can't complain. I was outside with my best friend. We went to
I did see you outside. I saw you outside.
Yeah, we went out for a little while, hung out, same old, but we had a good time. We was cute in our little dresses. And funny thing is, we went to this spot, it was men in there. These men don't be approaching. That like they just it's like it's punk season. They was looking, but no, they was looking. But
in that scenario, you gotta flirt with your eyes. You gotta, if you see something you like, you gotta.
It's not us. I'm sorry. These men are punks out here, and for real, like they really are punks, and it's annoying. And I'm just like, yo, y'all need to stop being scared and say hello. So
men don't like being rejected. It's hard
because the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Because they're doing a cost-benefit analysis and saying, I don't like how you're dressed. I don't like, the prospect of having to kick out a bunch of money. I'm enjoying my peace. I'm enjoying it all. I'm enjoying it. So and as Pearl said in her video, you're not in competition a lot of times with other ladies, although there is competition from other ladies, in particular foreign ladies who are less demanding, who are less materialistic and more accommodating and more feminine. You're definitely in competition with that. However, completely lost my train of thought. Your real competition is a man's peace. And listen, sometimes, man, I get a girl's number. I got a girl's number a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god, I don't want to call this woman because it really becomes a selfish thing. And this probably goes for women too, but we're speaking about men here. I like to read. I'm listening to my podcasts. I'm listening to my audiobooks. I'm playing my video games. You're in competition with that. And once a man, in particular, a mature man, gets over that high, gets over being high, being on drugs, as I would call it, testosterone, once it levels out a little bit or even dips a little bit, call it what you want, right? That's why I'm working out, making sure my stuff stays where it should be, right? Before I came out here, I did some farmer's walks and some pull-ups and stuff, right? Or some, some back workouts and stuff. Now I'm going to go for this rucksack walk, make sure my muscles tone stays where it should be. This guy's over here looking at me. Once you become that mature man, no, we're good. You're interrupting our peace. And listen, I want somebody to go to. I want somebody that can consistently go to movies with, or whatever. But again, I made another video about that. That's going to be coming out soon too. I don't know which is going to be released first, but I got a couple of videos slated to be released concerning these topics. But that's what your competition is. That's what your competition is, because I had a conversation with somebody else the other day, just today, as a matter of fact, just today. Just today, I had a conversation, and I just told this woman. I just told her, look, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what is going on, what has happened, but whatever it is, whatever it is, you ladies got to figure it out. I don't know, this game that goes on. I text you, you're not texting me back for hours. I call you, don't call me. I mean, and you know what? Somebody put it in the comment section. If she likes you, she'll call you back. She'll text you back. Okay. I'm seeing something completely different. And it'd be one thing if it was me, but it's happening to a lot of people. And it is making us socially inept, socially awkward, socially maladjusted society where we are just not nice people. I mean, you're just deliberately ignoring people, playing games. People are human beings. You don't want to talk to somebody, don't talk to them. Don't hit them back an hour later, day later, 2 days later. Don't do stuff like that, right? But again, you as a man, you got to stand on your square and not allow people like that into your life. And if they're in your life, kick them out. Kick them out. Kick them out. You know, you got to live a life where people have to qualify to be in your life. You ought to live a life where people need to qualify to be in your life. You need to live a life where people need to qualify to be in your life. And if people are going to play games, they're not going to keep their word. Listen, I'll call you tomorrow. I'll be over tomorrow. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'm a very literal person. I'm a very literal person. If you tell me you're going to call me tomorrow, you're going to see me tomorrow, you do this, you do that, you'll come over here, you'll be here at 10 o'clock. You know what I expect? I expect you to do that. And if you don't, your disqualification level, you start to you disqualify yourself. I went to something else the other day. Brother said to me, listen, I appreciate you being on time. I said, I'm always on time. There's hardly ever a time when I'm not on time. And if I'm not on time, I'm going to apologize for it. But I'm always on time. Because I respect your time. Because I want you to respect my time. That's the way I live and move. That's the way I live and move. And I don't like it when people are late. And if I'm ever late, usually the reason that I'm late is because I'm with somebody else, or I had to pick them up or whatever. And they're late, not because I'm late getting there. I mean, you know, things happen. People sit in traffic. I'm not, you know, you got to excuse that kind of stuff. But, you know, things are outside of their level of control. But why are you late? I want you to answer that. If you're a late person, why are you late? It shows me a lack of discipline, a lack of consideration, lack of planning, lack of forethought. And that's what it shows and tells me, that you just don't. You just have this uncaring attitude. Maybe you got too many things on your plate. You overestimated this, that, and the other. But that shows a lack of planning, a lack of, you know, how long do these things go back to back? Right? Oh, I got this thing at 11, but I can be at your house by 12. Have you considered traffic? Have you considered, you know, things run late? You consider somebody wants to talk to you a little bit after that? Have you considered any of that in your planning analysis? Have you factored into that bathroom breaks, again, traffic, getting something to eat on the way? Have you planned? Has that been in your consideration? Instead of, if you got something at 11, you'll be there at 12. You know, maybe you ought to tell them 12:30, 1 o'clock to be more realistic. And if you get there early, that's great. This is all how men should be perceiving and acting and reacting and moving in the world. Men have to show leadership. Men have to show leadership. And if you don't have that ability, then you have to work on that ability first. Stop trying to bang chicks. Stop trying to get their numbers. You know, if you got kids, you know, you got to interact with them a certain way. But you have to work on that, because when you don't, as a man, show up, when you don't show up as a man, as a father, as a leader, when you don't show up that way, everything around you is chaotic. I've seen it too many times I've seen it too many times in my time and working in the police field, not only with the officers that I work with, some of their lives were a mess too, right? I was working at IA for a long time. I was a supervisor for a long time. I had to go to these dudes' houses and stuff and you know, and write them up and all this kind of stuff, right? I had to go investigate their behaviors. Doing that, my time teaching criminology, forensic psychology, studying this stuff, right? When men don't show, men bring stability. Men bring that. You all seen the videos of, a woman is yelling and screaming and stuff, and her father walks in the room and everything starts changing. There's something about the masculine presence. Stop with all this craziness and nonsense. There's something about the masculine presence that we need to acknowledge and we need to accept and we need to get back to. Stop with all this feminized BS. Stop with all this feminized BS. It's absolute garbage. It's turned men weak. And we got to reclaim our masculinity. And no one needs to reclaim it more. No one needs to fight for it more than black men. Because we were always the tip of the spear when it talks about emasculation. Our guns were taken from us first. Our dogs were taken from us first. We were, disenfranchised from the vote. It was always aimed at us. And now that it's hurting the dominant society, now it's an uproar. Now white boys ain't going to college. Now, they're dropping out. They're not dating anymore. Oh, we got to do something about this. But before, black men were just lazy. We just had too many kids all over the place. We're just doing this, right? Let's lynch these dudes. Let's put them in jail. Let's flood their cities with crack cocaine. Now the chickens have come home to roost. Oh, now it's a problem. Okay. Whoa. My Midwestern Ohio and Illinois and son in Indiana, son doesn't want to go to college and he can't get off this farm and they're cutting back on the farm subsidies and what happened to masculinity? I gotta get this workout in. Be a leader, even if you're just leading yourself. It's true everybody has leadership qualities. It's true that everybody can't lead other people, but you can lead yourself. And leading yourself means taking accountability, taking inventory, taking emotional inventory, emotionally regulating yourself, regulating your emotions, standing on your square, becoming knowledgeable about a range of different topics, so you can at least have a conversation. And if you go to an event, you can't have a conversation because you never heard of this topic, this event, this thing, whatever. You can go home and read about it. You can go home and listen to an audiobook about it. Go home and look for it on YouTube and read and listen to somebody with some letters behind their name, right? Some authority figure, Yeah, you can and should do that. There is no excuse to not be knowledgeable. And I was listening to BGS the other day, BGS Immore, and he was talking about, guys, because of the garbage that they have pushed in these school systems, there are people who can't read. This is a conversation he was having on his channel. There's an epidemic of people who can't read, and it's something like the average. I've read this before, but I want to be very careful as I'm saying. It's something like the average reading level of Americans is something like the 6th grade. If you want to increase your ability to read, AI is not the way. There are students who are using AI and can't write me an email. Listen, at least establish the basics. And I give a lot of credit to those students who spell things wrong, who are struggling, who are trying, because at least they're trying. At least they're trying. I understand that the school system has failed people, and it's not the fault of teachers. I think it's the fault of the administration. Whatever policies are set above the teachers' heads, and teaching to the test, and whatever's going on there, you got to look out into the world and say we're failing these students. And nothing was a bigger tell than that girl from the Hartford school system here in Connecticut, Hartford school system, who had some kind of learning disabilities, who came from Puerto Rico, whatever learning disabilities, if she even really had them, I don't know, and then got accepted to the University of Connecticut, pretty elite school, top tier school to get into, and can't read. There's something going on. We have left masculinity and the ability to tell people that merit counts, that trying counts, that it counts. You have to try. You have to put your best foot forward, and you can do something about this. If you're a guy and you recognize you can't really read that good, and you stumbling over words and this and that, there are methods that you can get. My daughter they tried to give my daughter this whatever it's called, APA, whatever that terminology is. So I went to there. I'm like, what's up with this? So I'm looking at this, right? So I start reading with my daughter and this, that, and the other, and she's like, and I understood that she couldn't really read that well. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna work. You and I are gonna work on this, right? So I went and bought her the phonics books because she didn't understand that the P and the H go together and make the F sound, or the G and H make the same GH. Yeah, GH make the same sound, or how you make the long vowel sounds and short vowel sounds. She didn't understand any of those principles. I've heard some teachers saying they want to go back to that way. So I leave it to them to do the education piece of it. But I'm going to tell you, when they get to college, when I'm teaching them, they can't read, they can't do the work. They got to AI everything. They're typing on their phones all the time. Can't do anything. You can put Grammarly on your phone, and Grammarly will spell check everything for you. And then you should read it. And then you should get programs like Speechify or Audiobook. Or Audiobook doesn't do it, but Speechify, where you can see the words being written on the screen and you can follow along. There's methods out. You go get yourself an old school hooked on phonics book program and learn to read, not just sight reading. Picture of a car with the word car next to it. That ain't doing nothing. You're not learning how the vowels and everything make the sounds. All right, I went on a crazy tangent here. Crazy tangent. I got to get to work. I'm saying that we have lost masculinity, and we have to get it back. Build a foundation that you can build off of there. You can AI after that, right? I have students doing presentations. Man, this is a rant. I got students doing presentations, right? I make them do like a PowerPoint presentation or video presentation, right? As part of the assignments and stuff. They're using AI faces in it. It's great that you know how to do that. That's great. But I want to know that you, as a human being, can give a presentation. Can you do what I'm doing and have a conversation? Can you do that? I do a lot of surfing around the internet. As soon as something comes on, I'm like, oh, I see a thumbnail, I look at it, and it starts talking AI, I click off of it. But I'm probably an old school fogey, right? These new kids, they're going to grow up and just listen to AI all the time. The people can't have a conversation. It's making us more dysfunctional. You sit behind a keyboard all day, not putting your brain to work, not interacting with people, AIing everything, and then you want to go out there and have a girlfriend. It's crazy. It's crazy what's going on out here. It's crazy. So put your phone down. Get out the screen times. Get out there. Learn how to read. Learn how to talk. Learn how to interact. Be a man. Generation X, right? I guess we were really the last generation of falling out of trees and whatnot. Man. Falling out of trees, getting on our skateboards, getting on our bikes, going places, getting on the bus, getting off here, getting lost, laughing about it, right? Drinking out of water hoses, right? It's crazy. These kids don't know nothing about that. Bubble wrap society, crazy. And then you look around and say, where are the men at? Where are the men gone? Lady wrote a piece for the New York Times. Where are the men at? Never mind the fact that she's one of the reasons the men are gone, because she was working in the adult industry, putting out all this information, making men want to sit behind their keyboards all day and sit behind their screens all day. Never ever. You created this problem. Then the super levels of entitlement, men don't want to engage with that. I just want to have a good time. I'm at the park right now, about to go for a walk. People are riding around, which is good, riding around with their families and with their girlfriends, right? And a lot of people just don't have that ability anymore, right? They got to have conversations. You got to be able to converse with someone. So, man, get out there, show some leadership. Show some leadership, man. Show some leadership. Man, this is a long rant. I didn't mean for all this. Much love and peace, everyone. Hit the like button. Become a member of the channel. Get your workout in. Eat right. Fruits, vegetables, all different colors. all different colors of fruits and vegetables. I think I took a screenshot. I think I did. All different colors of fruits and vegetables. Yellows, oranges, reds, purples, greens. Get them all in there. Eat your fruits and vegetables. And eat your seeds too. Eat seeds. Chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. I'm probably missing a bunch of other seeds. Get those seeds in there. Right. When I first entered the whole food plant-based diet, they call it G bombs. Right. Get your greens. That's your greens. Your spinach, your kale, mustard greens, arugula. Get your greens in there. Get your G bombs. So the B would be the beans, all different colored beans, black beans, pinto beans, navy beans, black eyed peas. The O is for M. The O is for onions, all different kinds of onions. The red ones, spicy ones, yellow ones, sweet onions, all different kinds of onions. The M is mushrooms, all different kind of mushrooms. A lot of people use mushrooms as a replacement for meats because of the texture. The other B is for berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, acai berries, goji berries. Get your berries in there. And then the S is for seeds. Again, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, whatever else I'm missing, whatever kind of seeds, sunflower seeds. Get the seeds in there, right? Also, all the different fruits and vegetables. That stuff will change your life. Change your life. All right, everyone, I'm going for this walk. Gonna get this thing in. Much love and peace.